Hey, what's up, guys? It's Chris. Hey, just want to let you know real quick before the video gets started. I had a little bit of an issue with the file. So about the first 10 minutes, we only have audio. We don't have video. And so I'm just going to be playing the Married to the Games logo spinning, and then you're going to have our audio over that. And then after about 10 minutes, the video will kick in. You see us kind of chatting the rest of the way through the Google Hangout. So just want to make you aware.
Oh, my gosh. Well, if you guys don't know, it's your boys from the Married to the Games YouTube channel, Gabe, Chris, and Ed. We're here. We were going to hang out tonight anyway, but we thought, why not talk about Star Wars? We've all seen it.
Let's do it.
Some of us have seen it more than once.
Looking at you two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, how many times you seen it? You only seen it twice?
I've seen it twice, yeah. Today was my second showing.
Uh-huh. Ed saw it today for the first time.
You know you guys are fans when you say you only seen it twice.
Yeah, well, I told Stacy because I bought my tickets for today like a while back, and then her friend from Oklahoma called and said, "Hey, y'all want to go with us on that Saturday?" We're like, "Okay, cool." And so we went Saturday, and then Stacy was like, "Hey, you think you got anybody to go with you on Monday?" I was like, "Why? You don't want to go?" And she's like, "I just don't like seeing movies more than once, and it's not a big deal to me." I was like, "All right, fine." I was like, "Well, I was already planning to go a third time, probably by myself." She goes, "A third time?" It's like, yeah, I mean, probably so.
I got to tell you, I was surprised that a Monday evening show at an IMAX 3D was sold out. I was like, okay, the weekend's over. Kids have got school tomorrow still. It should be all right. But I was really shocked.
Dude, I wonder, have the numbers come out yet for how much it did at the box office over the weekend?
Yeah.
Usually those come out like Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I saw them. It was it was looking like it wasn't going to beat it won the domestic.
Jurassic Park.
It won the domestic whatever, but the worldwide it wasn't going to beat Jurassic Park, but then they updated their numbers and they said they did. They came like 528.
Wow.
And Jurassic Park did 524. Something like that. But
Are you serious? Just barely edged it out?
Yeah, well, actually maybe it was more than that. Maybe it was 554. I don't know.
$554 million worldwide in 3 days.
That's what I saw. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
They said that there's no movie ever to have broken 100 million in December
Really?
Oh, really?
on opening weekend. And this had over 100 million in pre-sales.
Wow.
Yeah, I did know that.
That's crazy. Go nuts, man.
Yeah, actually, in fact, Universal sent out this image, which I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, back up a little bit. Back up.
Is that focusing on there?
What's that, a B8 and a
Yeah, it's basically just them. It's basically them just saying congratulations to Disney and Star Wars: The Force Awakens. For
Oh,
setting a
nice.
new record or whatever.
Wow.
So I guess they did beat it officially.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a lot of money. Man, $4 billion is looking like a steal, doesn't it?
I got this one from somebody.
There we go. We need to see
it wasn't
that.
Universal.
Hey,
It
she's
was
got 2 BB-8s.
a birthday card. It was my birthday the other day, and well, it's not my birthday yet, but the birthday party, and that happened. I'm glad I didn't open it up in front of anybody. I was like, how do you react to that? You don't want to be like, ew, but you don't want to be like, hey. You don't want to offend anyone. How do you not offend anyone? You go back and forth like, fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
She
Yeah,
looks like she's having a great time.
she sure does.
All right, so it's
How do you
moving
transition?
on. And so we've all seen the movie. It's gotten to sink in for me a little bit because I didn't see it today. I did see it Thursday and then took a break on Friday and then saw it on Saturday. And today is Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I can't stop thinking about the movie. Chris, in a summary, and then Ed will go how do you just feel about it?
How do I feel? Just feel about it?
Yeah.
When I was watching it, now I'm not going to say that I had anything spoiled, but I kind of had a little bit of information come to me beforehand that I saw.
This is going to be a spoiler cast. I mean, it's going to be in the title, but just in case anybody's wondering. We're gonna spoil this movie.
Yeah, it's gonna get spoiled. So, what I read wasn't a spoiler. Like, if you really paid attention to all the marketing material, you would have already known what this. It was in a review. What I was doing was when the reviews were coming out, I would read the first paragraph and the last one just to get an overall feel of what they thought.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because most of them were like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm still not reading the body to believe that. Because usually just the last, and when I say paragraph, it's usually the end's like a couple sentences. So I just wanted to see them say like, overall, I loved it, or whatever they were going to say.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it said something that was like, oh, well, no, I kind of know
what did it say?
that. Well, it just said that it was complaining about, it was the only one that I saw that had a complaint. It was complaining about how, and I'm sure we'll kind of get to this, but that it's kind of just, it's like whenever they opened up that scene and I see all these X-Wings moving towards a planet-killing weapon, I kind of had to think, like, how did we get here again, And I was like, oh, well, because, I mean, if you look at the poster, you see the Starkiller base and you see all these things. And if you put all the pieces together, you can realize, hey, there's probably going to be a new Death Star. But I hadn't really put all that together. And I was like, oh, man. So I kind of knew that. So going into the movie, I was like, well, we'll just have to see. And I would be watching and I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's kind of good. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Hey, oh, my gosh, this BB-8 guy, he's awesome. Right? Go, Poe! Oh, my gosh. Yeah. And that's how I was. I just got happier and happier. My smile got bigger and bigger as we were going throughout the whole movie.
Yes. Yeah.
It was just so good. So
Edward.
Good.
No, I had a very similar reaction that Chris had, where the instant where we are introduced to I'm gonna forget his name, the stormtrooper.
Finn.
Oh,
Finn. And he's still in the stormtrooper gear on Jakku, and the camera does a thing where it shifts focus and it kind of does like almost like a 180 where all of a sudden it points at the stormtrooper, and just like that you realize, oh, we're going to get a stormtrooper's story. At that moment I was like, this is really good movie making here. And it was the whole rest of the time it was a great, really well done movie.
Golly. Yeah, because if you think about it, like somebody else I saw somebody that was talking about it afterwards, and they're like, you've never really humanized a stormtrooper, and that's because like
they were clones.
Now I'm not a complete. I don't know all the lore, but in the Empire, all the stormtroopers are just clones, so they're just like just running around doing their thing, and they're kind of buffoons or whatever. But in this, they were stolen at birth. Yeah, I mean, all these people are stolen at birth, and so they're kind of like clones in a way, like they're brainwashed in a sense, but they're still people, and you kind of got to see like, oh my gosh, this guy's like having emotional, like, oh, this isn't right, and everything. And that was a cool idea. That was a really cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, growing up as kids, we always just assumed the stormtroopers were robots because that's all you ever saw, and so it was really cool to give that humanization behind the mask.
Yeah.
Going into it, I watched zero. I can't say zero trailers, but I watched the first trailer they released, and then I accidentally saw another one.
Yeah.
And so I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't read anything. I knew there was a black guy in it. I knew there was a white girl in it, and the cast was back. That's all I knew about. I didn't know about the planet. I didn't know about any of that. And Chris, I'm glad you said it, because somebody was asking me, what do you think I'll think of the movie? And I said, there's a lot of smiles that will happen.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for anybody who because I count on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the guy that can break every character down and every planet and its climate, to 1 being my wife who's never seen any of the movies. I'm probably like in that 5-ish range. I can't name that many planets.
Yeah.
I can name all the characters and tell you how they correlate with each other, but I don't really know the lore and the canon and everything.
Right.
So going into it, I feel like I'm very like middle of the road, got the shirt, but I'm not like the guy to really break down what happened during Empire Strikes Back. And man, I tell you what, when you talk about just smiling through a movie, golly, man. I remember like there's times where you're laughing, and then there was times where I sat there and I was like, that's so good. Like, thank you for doing that. That is so good. Like, you want to thank JJ for doing such an amazing job. And it feels like he didn't handle it with kid gloves, but he handled it in a way to where you could tell how much he loved it, because there were so many more callbacks than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
I had no idea there would be that many winks to 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah. And I'm like you, Gabe, because I grew up on 4, 5, and 6. And that, of course, that sounds old to say, but that was pre-internet. And so really the action figures are the only way we knew people's names.
Yeah.
And so we didn't get the lore. I didn't read any of the books. I didn't know if it wasn't in those movies, we didn't know it.
Yeah.
And then I watched 1, 2, and 3 once, and that was it. So it was just really cool to see, like you were saying, those winks where even Rey's outfit on Jakku was a throwback to Luke's outfit on Tatooine. Like, I couldn't help but think of, they've got the same material, the same belt going around. I was like, that's really cool. Just the details like that was really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those things where I was like, this was the first movie. Now, of course, I'm hyped up on it right now, so I'm going to go ahead and say it's the best movie I've seen all year. But I've also have to preface that with, I have 2 kids, and I haven't seen that many movies this year. But it was one of those things where I walked away and I was like, regardless of if you even know anything about Star Wars, like let's say you have never seen a Star Wars movie and you just saw this movie is great. And JJ's use of silence, and I feel like he didn't use words when there didn't need to be words. Where I feel like a lot of other directors and writers would have maybe filled up those moments of like, no, come on, or like even grunting, and there was none of that. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, I love how still he would let things be and communicate just in the look of somebody's eyes.
Well, and I think to a newcomer, that's, you hit it on the head, because I've still to this day, I've never seen an episode of Star Trek. Never seen. I saw one part of one movie, and when his came out, I watched it and I loved it.
Loved it.
And that's when I knew. That's when I knew. Okay, Star Wars is gonna do well.
Yeah, honestly, when Star Trek came out, I didn't see Into Darkness, so I don't know about that one, because some people have issues with that one, and I don't know what they are because I haven't seen it. But when I saw which one
was that one? The second one?
Yeah, that was the second one that he came out with. But I saw like the reboot Star Trek, because I was the same. I mean, Star Trek Next Generation was on TV when I was a kid. I'd catch a few episodes, but I never watched the old ones. I didn't really care. And when I watched that Star Trek, I was like, this is awesome. And honestly, when I heard that JJ was going to be doing Star Wars, at first I was like, he can't do both.
That's
and then I was
exactly what I thought.
But then I was like, wait a minute, he did a good job. And just the more and more that time went by, and like little bits would come out, and because I was looking up almost everything I could when it was coming out. I just got to the point where I was like, I'm gonna, until he proves me wrong, I'm just gonna have faith in JJ. It's gonna be good. I'm just gonna believe it, and I feel like I was rewarded in my faith.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. I feel like I think I even talked about it on the podcast. I was like, I was kind of begging for JJ, but thinking like it was weird if JJ did both. You know what I mean? Because you always had like your Star Wars guys and your Trekkies, and like, you know what I'm saying? There was always that thing, but golly, like, how did he do it so well? I can't believe it.
I think it's cool that, kind of similar to what they did with Daniel Craig and Bond, where like for the first time we have a James Bond who gets beat up and looks beat up.
Yeah.
And I think he let that happen with, he lets things get dirty that should be dirty.
Yeah.
And it's just that vibe of, it's just a very realistic, not to mention practical effects over CGI. Thank you so much for that.
So, I mean, this is the first movie where stormtroopers actually feel like a threat. They've never felt like a threat. Yeah. And all of it's gritty and all that. And you were saying, like, I don't remember exactly how you put it, but you're basically like, this, it's kind of not, it's like, how did he do such a good job and everything like that? It's like, well, he grew up on Star Wars. So it's kind of like how they say about like, oh, the internet was built and all these old people in Congress, like they want to, have data caps and all this stuff, and they want to destroy the internet. It's like, well, once they, die off and go away, and the people who were raised with the internet come into power, they understand it and they'll get it. It's kind of like the same thing with Star Wars. It's like these people, JJ, and probably I'm assuming a lot of the people that were on the film and worked on it. It's like they grew up with it. Like, this is how it needs to be. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like they know what they're doing because they know it. They're the fans. They'd be sitting right next to us in the theater going, yeah,
Right.
BB-8.
Yeah, exactly.
All this other stuff.
So let's talk a little bit. I don't want to forget anybody, so you guys remind me as we go. But let's just break down a little bit of the characters and talk about them. How perfect was Ray?
Perfect.
Yeah, she was great. Absolutely great.
God. Like I felt like she was like we talked about it on the road. And I talked about it with my wife, so this is not about to get weird. But like she was the right amount of pretty without being like distractingly pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like that whole homegirl from Lost was kind of like that. Where you're not like lost in her beauty the whole time, like, oh my gosh. But what's her name? Evangeline Lilly?
Yeah.
Where she was just like the right amount of pretty, but it wasn't like so far-fetched. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. What was the girl's name from 1, 2, and 3? I can't think of it now. Amidala.
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I almost feel bad that she wasn't that age when this movie came. Like, I feel like she could have, like, the girl reminded me of Natalie Portman a lot in a good way. I thought it was really she was a lot of fun.
She reminded me too of Keira Knightley for some reason. Like,
she did. She looked a little bit like her.
Yeah.
So Ray was awesome, and so let's talk. I mean, we're talking about her. They're setting her up to be Luke's daughter.
I don't think that's the case.
Do y'all think that's the case?
I don't think she's Luke's daughter.
Who you think she is?
I have no idea who she is. Now, I've not read any of the comics. They came out with that novel that's supposed to kind of somewhat fill in the gap of between Return of the Jedi to this, because there's like 30 years difference.
Right.
And in the books, there's going to be like 3 books. So and I didn't read that book, but I just don't think she's Luke's daughter. I don't know who she is. I don't know how she's got what she's got, but I'm going to say she's not Luke's daughter.
So I would love for her not to be Luke's daughter, only because it feels like they set it up like that. Mm-hmm. And the only other thing that lends me to believe that she's Luke's daughter is because of the first trailer that came out where Luke is talking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which says, "The force is strong in my family. My father had it. I had it. Now you have it." And so you'd imagine that he's talking to her because she's the only one, unless he's talking to Ben.
Yeah.
Wasn't that sound taken from Return of the Jedi and he was talking to Leia?
No, that was it's slightly different wording.
Is it? Okay.
And so they this is what somebody told me. I didn't go back and look and listen to it, but I believe it's slightly different wording.
No,
okay.
It's the same.
Did he say my sister had it?
Yeah, he did. Well, because in Return of the Jedi, he says the Force runs strong in my family. He's talking to her outside the little Ewok tent or Ewok huts, whatever. He says, "My father has." He said that Vader's my father. He tells her Vader's my father, and she's like, "Your father?" And he's like, "Yeah, the Force runs strong in my family. My father has it. I have it." And he goes, "My sister has it." And he kind of looks at her, and then she said, and later on she says something about like, "But you've got a power I could never have." And he goes, "You have that power too." And that's when he goes into, "My father has it. My sister has it." He looks at her and he says, "Yes." She goes, "I've known. Somehow I've always known."
So, and then the wording's a little different on this one, right, Chris? From the first trailer?
No, it's the same words, but he doesn't say it in that order. Like they just took the parts and then put them in the order that they wanted. It's not exactly that order in the trailer.
So do you think that it was a recut or it's the same exact audio from the other movie?
It's the same audio, but it's recut. It's moved. Like that line that "you have that power too" is put at the end. That actually came, I believe that came earlier in that sequence when he said it in the movie.
It sound like he's talking to somebody that's not Leia.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the way it sounds in the trailer.
He could have been talking to Kylo, which would be a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Or he could be talking to this girl, considering that I guess she's supposed to be made out to be stronger in the Force than Kylo. He says that himself in the movie. But do you think that we talked about this a little bit on the bus because we've got some Star Wars nerds out there. I didn't remember this, but I guess Anakin was a virgin birth.
Yes.
And
well,
so they were saying that this she could be as well. Maybe.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, if So, okay, here's the reason why I don't think that she is Luke's daughter. The most basic of reasons. And it's kind of the same reason why how Anakin got there or whatever, but like Jedi, they're not supposed to get married, they're not supposed to have kids, they're not supposed to do any of that kinds of stuff.
Right.
So Anakin broke those rules, but he was breaking all kinds of rules and ended up going, down the wrong path.
Right.
So, okay. But Luke, in theory, there's all kinds of different theories out there, but Luke, you could say, okay, he went the right way, he took the right path, and if he did that, he's not going to have a kid. He's not going to do that because it's against the order. And so you could say, okay, well, maybe she's like, was conceived by the Force kind of the same way that Anakin was. But then it's like, but then that doesn't tie her in any way to Luke. Like there's nothing from him. So I just feel like the only reason that I say that she is not Luke's daughter is because I don't think Luke would have done what he's not supposed to do. Because he was supposed to be the one to bring balance to the Force and blah, 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 blah. So I don't think that he changed that and went against anything.
Right.
But are they going to make Rey and Finn related? That's what we all thought walking out.
I don't think so, because I mean Finn was stolen as a child and raised in the First Order, and we don't know what that means by stolen as a child. Like, did they steal his mom and then his mom birthed him out while he was in the First Order? Did they like raid a village and just steal all the babies? So we don't really know, but I would assume that they're not related for that fact.
Right.
There's another fact that would
just
make me think they're not related as well.
Well,
when when she had that flashback and it kind of went back and she could remember little kids crying and "Don't take me," I was like, oh, I wonder if she remembered him being taken. But yeah, I didn't even think about her and Luke being related.
Well, which you talking about when she sees the lightsaber, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, there's that little video of her and being dropped off on Jakku and her family leaving. Which one are you talking about? Which part?
Yeah. I just remember hearing kids calling out or saying, "Don't take them" or something like that.
Well, I don't know about kids,
but I only saw it once, so I didn't really get to.
Yeah, I mean, man, I saw it the second time today, and I was like, I still feel like there's stuff I missed.
Exactly. I definitely feel like she was screaming, "Don't leave me," but I don't know if I remember other kids yelling.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember.
Or somebody yelling, "Don't take them," or something like that.
And I may not have realized when I first heard that it was her screaming until after the fact. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, because there was a lot of that. Like you start hearing audio, and as the scene is changing, like the audio is leading the picture, so it could have been that.
Right. So, and then there's let's talk about Finn. Finn was fun. Finn was obviously, like we're talking about, a whole different look at stormtroopers. Stormtroopers now are a bunch of different people. They have conviction, and they aren't as walk off this cliff as they definitely seemed in the old movies. We all saw the part when Kylo is throwing that fit after Rey escapes, and they kind of pat each other and turn around and leave.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff didn't happen.
Yeah,
they weren't always comic relief like that. So let's talk about Finn. Finn was amazing. We have no idea his origin. We know he was stolen as a baby, but I feel like that dude acted his tail off.
Yeah, he did.
And I thought it was funny that he's a British actor, and they gave him a non-British accent, considering that she has a British accent. So I just thought it was funny that. And but then again, we've never heard any British stormtroopers. Just the lead bad guys are all British.
Yeah,
you know what though? Yeah. British people are very good at doing American accents, or no accents, if you want to put it that way. It's ridiculous. They're so good at doing it.
They're better at being American than we are being
Definitely.
British.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he nailed it. And the I don't know if it's his timing or the editor's timing, but just his comedic timing and just the way he would deliver lines is I loved it. It was so refreshing laughing that much at a Star Wars film. It was fun.
Yeah, I don't remember ever laughing that much in a Star Wars film.
Except at 1, 2, and 3, and then you weren't supposed to laugh.
Chris, what did you think of old Finn?
I really like the whole idea of his character. I was on board with that. I was like, yeah, I like that idea. And then I thought he played it well. I had never heard of him before, I know the one who plays Rey, I forget her actual name at the moment. she's the only one that's an actual unknown, like had no other acting experience. This is her like movie debut.
What?
As I understand it, yeah. Like there's some video came out that and showed her like, here's Daisy Ridley, that's her name. Said here's Daisy Ridley in an acting class about a year or two before she got to Star Wars, and John Boyega has been in stuff, but I've never seen anything he's been in, so he was absolutely new to me. And I thought he did a great job.
I think they both did a lot of both did acting in England, because she definitely had an agent, and she tells the story of she heard about the audition, called her agent, said, "Can you hook this up?" Agent sent her out, and she did it. And she said she didn't feel great about the audition, but when she left, she felt like she got it.
And is she British, or is she? I had a feel. To me, I thought her accent was more Australian, but I know they're like very similar, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's hard for me to tell. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just always go with British because it's easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna look her up
because it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things in the movie, and I'm talking kind of blasting out the new characters first. One of my favorite things in the movie, Kylo Ren, is the moment that you find out his real name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When his father yells out Ben, I was like, oh shoot, Han named him after Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, that was the coolest thing to me of the whole movie.
And that's awesome, but we don't know for sure that that's why he's named Ben. Like, I want to know, like, is that the case? Is that why his name is Ben? I want to know. It, you think that, but then I don't know. I could expect a curveball.
But look, you have to look at it this way. Who else's name is just regular? There's no other like regular character names besides Ben Kenobi.
Yeah, but if you think about it, Ben was just like a fake name anyways. It was like to hide him. His name was Obi-Wan, So
yeah.
Considering it's like Star Wars and Ben is such an iconic name, if it wasn't, I think they'd like mix up other vowels and consonants and be like, "Hey, Bleeborg" or whatever.
Now, if he would have been like Obi, I would have been like, "Oh, well, that's pretty daggum obvious who he's named after." I will say this: I totally think that's who he's named after. But it's like, and I love that we have all these questions about things. I want to know. It's like, I want to know for sure. Somebody write it on a piece of paper and be like, JJ be like, oh, he's named after this.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me.
Well, Han's not going to tell you.
No, he's not.
So we got to find out some other way. So Kylo Ren, the son of Han Solo and Princess Leia, or General Leia now. And this was so far, I think, the only thing I got right before going into the theater. I remember we were talking about it in line, and I was telling people how I hadn't seen anything, but I felt like the bad guy was Han's son.
Really? Wow.
And but I thought that him and homegirl were gonna be brother sister. So I was kind of wrong, kind of right. And so when they said it was his son, I was like, yes, I got one thing right. And I thought the guy. I thought he did great. I thought his voice was awesome. I thought that anytime you reveal someone's face, that's always a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Like, what face is going to be like, yes, that's who I was thinking. Because I didn't, like I said, people always like, well, we know who the actor is. I didn't go look at who he was. I had no idea who he was. So I didn't know what he looked like till he took off the mask.
Right.
And that's always hard to impress anybody in that moment. But the way he walked and the way he always kept a clenched fist, I freaking loved Kylo Ren. I thought he was a great character.
Yeah, I love that they showed him lose his cool.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
Yeah, where Vader was always just like, oh darn, or he would just talk to the Emperor or whatever. But this guy
choke somebody.
Yeah. Where this guy really would just
emotional.
And in private, where he didn't have to choke someone in front of everyone else to show his power. He just needed to have a fit right then and there.
Yeah.
I love that.
He's like, so Vader would obviously get upset about things, but Vader knew, like, I am powerful. He knew I'm, basically number 2 in charge. And he knew his strength and his power. Whereas you can tell Kylo is like, I want to be like Granddad. And it's like, am I? I don't know. And like, he just wants everything to be the way he wants it to be. And he doesn't know how to handle it. He's like a kid throwing a fit.
Well, you got to think about it. One of the things we talked about after we saw it, and one of the things I loved about it was that they were kids. Like, this is only 30 years after
Yes.
the other movies ended. And so, you know, he can't be probably more than 27, 28 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
and he's not even that. I bet they're age gauging them to be like in their late teens, early 20s. That's what I think.
You think early 20s?
Yeah, because you got to think, okay, it's been 30 years. You have to knock off 10, and then because somewhere in that first 10 years is when Leia and Luke, I mean, not Leia and Luke, good Lord, Leia and Han, you know, did the stuff and had the kid, you know? So, I mean, I feel like you got to ease a little bit of time, you know, build all this new area, and I'm thinking about 10 years, and then they had them. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know. I could be way off. Yeah, I think that they're supposed to be like in there. I mean, you could say, I don't think any more than 25. I think anything older than 25, no way.
Yeah, I was thinking I was thinking somewhere between 24 and 27, like that range, because Han and Leia already liked each other. It doesn't have to be that they like tried for a baby for 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before, you know, they got a children. And so Ben was awesome. Ben Solo. I don't know what Han Solo's last name is. I'm guessing it's Solo, but I have no idea.
Yeah, it's his last name.
And so all right, so moving on, I guess we can talk BB-8.
BB-8. Awesome. That was the one thing that I predicted. I was like, I predict I'm going to love BB-8 as much as I think I'm going to. And I did. And awesome. I didn't force myself to like him. I was like, no, he's got to win me over. And he did. Every time he'd roll around and be like,
Yeah, yes. Like so much expression out of something that had no face.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
The thumbs up that he gave back to Finn in the ship. I was like, all right, that's it. I love BB-8. That's it.
And then like, so whenever they capture Finn on Jakku, you know, Daisy does, and she's like, that jacket belongs to his master, and he tells the story, and they're like, we escaped, I helped him escape, and he's gone, and then his head just sinks, and he just rolls away.
Yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, yes.
He put his little taser away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Psst, psst. Stop doing that.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know if there's too much to talk about when it comes to BB-8, but he obviously had a special part to play. He definitely was the R2-D2 of this movie. And I thought it was appropriate that he went and uncovered R2.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? When the time came.
Yes.
And I was surprised how much smaller he was than him.
Well, that didn't surprise me too much because I knew R2 was up about, you know, when he's standing next to Luke. Luke's a short guy compared to all the rest of them. So
yeah, yay high.
Yeah, yay, my height.
Is there anybody else from the new cast? Poe
has got like so much charisma. That guy, I mean, he's just like oozing. You just root for him because you're just like we assume he doesn't have any of the Force stuff or whatever, but he's just. That's the thing that the Resistance or the Rebellion, the Alliance, whatever you want to call them before,
right?
They never really had, like, you had Luke and you had Han. There wasn't really anybody in the rank and file that, like, was a hero to look up to.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Now there's somebody that's not necessarily tied to all the Jedi stuff in any way.
Yes.
He's just another guy, and he's just awesome.
Wise. I feel like he fit, since it's empty, but I felt like he so fit the Han Solo thing. Pilot, wisecracking, good looking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It fits what Han was. It's Han's replacement. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I thought he was so, like, the attitude, he had just enough attitude to be hilarious, but not enough to where you thought that it was a joke. But like that first scene with him and Kylo are face to face, and he says, "So do you talk first or I talk first?" I talk first. You're like, oh my gosh! Like it just kind of took you out of how serious the movie. The movie didn't have to be overly serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought when after that first opening scene, I said to myself, he's totally going to be Han's kid. Totally going to be a Han's kid.
That'd be crazy. So I thought Poe. What was his last name? I could never catch it. Dameron.
Dameron or something. I don't know how it's spelled.
I thought his character was perfect. I thought, him being an awesome pilot was so. I mean, just such a sick, thing for him to
So
to be able to
one of the
do.
criticisms that I heard of him, not of him or the character or anything, was that he wasn't in the movie enough. And I didn't really feel that way. I mean, yeah, there was a big gap where he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I just knew he was going to be showing back up because I had seen trailers and I knew there was supposed to be a scene where he's in it, and I haven't seen him in a while. But I didn't really get the sense that, man, where's that other guy, man? It's taking forever for him to get back on screen. Did y'all feel that way?
I think as a fan of story, you think, or I thought at least, well, he'll be in it enough once all three are out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wasn't worried about not seeing him in this movie because I know I'm going to see him in the next movie. And this movie really was Han's movie.
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean?
We lost a man. Yeah.
Ed just disappeared. He'll come back. They always come back.
So I was trying to make it, I realized, I'm just going to banter while he's gone. I was trying to make it to where, like, whenever I talk on my screen, I don't fill the screen. So I'm always just this little square down the corner. I was like, I know there's a way to change that, but I feel like there's a way to change that. I came across it, but I don't know how to do it.
I don't know how to do it either, except if you click it yourself and kind of self-direct. I know you can do that.
Should I? And you think we need to invite him again?
Sure.
All right, let me see here.
Sure.
Ed.
Oh, Poe Dameron. What a great character, man. And like when he first names Finn and that back and forth that we have.
It's like,
that
what's your name?
Nice to meet you,
FN2187. What?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to call you that. He's a FN Finn. That's what I'm going to call you. Yeah. I like that. Nice to meet you, Finn. Nice to meet you, Poe. Like that. That whole back and forth, you're like, I like that guy.
Again, this is kind of just a little fan servicey thing in a way, but when he's like, oh, I always wanted to drive one of these or fly one of these things, and then he goes, oh, this thing really moves. It's because you always have the sense, and even in Battlefront, it works that way. I always had the sense that they were faster, and it's just because of the sound. It's like I don't know, I didn't read any books that said that, so maybe they do. Yeah. And every Star Wars fan knew that, and they're like, oh my gosh, Chris, you're an idiot. But I didn't know that, and I was like, I just always got the sense that they seem like they're faster. And so when he got in there, I was like, oh my gosh, this thing's really fast. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. I love that they were tethered. Welcome back, Ed.
Thanks. Sorry about that. I don't know, freaking Comcast.
Oh, are you up against your cap?
I know, right?
You got to pay that internet bill, Bishop.
I know,
right? Junk ain't for free. All right. So the last new character I can think of off the top of my head that kind of sat with me for a while was Maz.
Oh yeah. Maz.
That was the best CGI I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Yeah.
Like for up close and like really looking at her eyes and in all different ways.
Right. It was funny because right before I went the second time, I was going with some people who hadn't seen it yet. And they go, please tell me there's no full CGI characters like Jar Jar. And I was like, well, there's a full CGI character, but she's nothing like Jar Jar.
Yeah.
And it's so much more amazing. And she's really, you don't feel like you're even watching CGI besides the fact that she's crazy looking.
Yeah. No, I thought she did a great job. And the actress, I can't pronounce her name, but the girl from 12 Years a Slave, she did a great job with that. And yeah, like you said, even after that scene ended, I was thinking, wow, there haven't been any full CGI. And I was like, oh, wait, I forgot that she even was CGI, like you just said.
Right.
So well done.
So well done. I wish we'd have saw more of her. I'm glad it didn't seem like she died.
Yeah, I don't think she died.
Yeah.
I think she'll kind of play Oracle.
If you don't see them die on screen, they're not dead.
Right, exactly.
That's the way I think about it.
So I'm excited to see her back in I guess it's
I want to know more. Well, like with a lot of the people, I want to know more about her. But it's like, okay, she made it very clear that she's not per se a Force user in any way. She's not a Jedi, but she's seems to be very
aware.
In tune and understands the Force and has some kind of something going on there. So I want to know, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And she made an off comment like, "Oh, when you've been around 1,000 years or something like that." It's like, well, is that just like a comment, or was she like?
No, Han said she's run this watering hole for 1,000 years.
But I thought she said something about that too when she was talking about the building, like when
you've been around as long as I have.
Maybe, that's what she said. That's right. That's right.
You notice people's eyes or something like that. But yeah, I hope they do tell the story. Like JJ's so good at throwing something out there and then not answering it. Obviously, if there's any Lost fans out there, he knows how to do that. But like, I hope they really do capture why she had Luke's lightsaber.
And they very much made it seem like they're gonna explain that, because he said like, how'd you get this? And she said, now's not the time for that, or whatever she said.
Great question for a different day.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they show that, and I think it's gonna probably tie into the whole school that Luke had, and the fact that it went belly up, and how bad it went with Kylo and all that. All right, so the next character, I mean, really, I think that there is to talk about is Han. I felt like it was his movie.
Yeah,
it was like Han's time to really cement himself in people's memory banks. Like, not like he didn't already, but this movie, he was such a mainstay in this movie. It was crazy. It felt like he was in 80% of it.
Yeah, he was in a big old chunk of it.
Did he feel like the same Han Solo to you guys?
I think he felt like an old Han Solo. There really weren't there was only a few times where a line or whatever would be said where I felt like, I don't really know if Han would have said it that way. But never in like it was never that apparent. Like, it was more like in retrospect being like, oh, well, maybe that wasn't as much of a Han moment, but a lot of parts were.
Yeah, I felt like he definitely just was old.
Yeah.
In the sense of like anything that, like anytime he ran or had to jump off something, you were like, it kind of sucked me out of the experience for a second. I was like, shoot, that's just an old man trying to.
The only time I really noticed that was when, the First Order is attacking Maz's area, and they were downstairs, and she hands the lightsaber to Finn, and then they go upstairs, and Han comes out and he's like shooting the stormtroopers, and then he goes over and shoots that one that's not even looking. But when he comes out of those steps, he very much had the old man, like the little, like, oh my gosh, here it comes. That was the only time I really noticed that, and as far as his fast movement.
When those things get rolling in his ship, the first time he kind of like turns and runs, I was like, shoot, he's 70. You know what I'm saying? But good on, I don't know how old Harrison Ford actually is.
He's in his 70s.
Harrison Ford,
He's in his 70s, I think.
Harrison Ford had to put in work for this movie.
Yeah.
And so hats off to him, because he had a lot of working days.
Yes,
and a lot of not working days for having a broken leg.
Did he have a broken leg?
The Millennium Falcon
it,
door closed on his leg and broke it.
Yeah, it fell on it. The door fell on him.
What?
Yeah, it delayed shooting and everything for months.
Are you talking about this movie or
this movie? No, this movie.
J.J. Abrams hurt his back trying to lift the door off of him.
Yeah, he threw his back out, or like messed up a disc. Yeah,
that's what happened to him in Indiana Jones. Remember, he was sick, and that's why that fighting scene where that guy's he just shoots him is like that, because he was supposed to fight that guy, but he was too sick to do it. Right. Note to self: stay away from Harrison Ford.
All right.
That's freaking great. So I mean, there's not too much to say about Han. I felt like he had the most, and this probably just happens with old people besides Carrie Fisher because she had this fixed, but like old people are able to move their faces in a way that young people just can't do.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when he frowned or when he would light up, like I felt like you saw it so much more in him. And I thought that was so awesome.
Yeah.
I felt like he acted his tail off, and it felt like I was happy for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously Han gets killed out on that walkway with his son. And I think, you
knew he was going to die. You knew.
You
knew coming in, someone's going to die, and all the signs were pointing at Han's going to be the one that dies, because Luke never shows up in the dang thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, and Leia's over on a base filled with her buddies. It's like Han's dying.
It finally, like Harrison Ford finally got his wish, because he was trying to be killed off Star Wars.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think he went out in the right way. Obviously, you could see it coming. You want it to be sneakier, but I don't think you want it to be faster. So anytime you pull out somebody's death like that and elongate it, then you can see the death coming. You don't want them to, like, all of a sudden, like watching The Departed, and all of a sudden, they're capping each other in the elevator, and you're like, oh snap, they died! Oh my gosh! But I was glad that they had that conversation and all that. And obviously, you could feel it, but you got to hear him call him Ben. That was the best.
Yeah.
Love that. I think my other favorite Ben line, my other favorite Han line had to have been when Finn said, "We'll use the Force," and he said, "That's not the way the Force works."
That's what I was gonna say. Well, that whole part, because he's like, "Those people are killing us." He goes, "We got this. We'll use the Force." He goes, "That's not how the Force works." And then Chewie screams. He goes, "You're cold." That whole exchange was, that's perfect.
Yeah,
I'd go see that movie again just for that one part.
Yep, that was awesome.
Do you think if Leia hadn't said, "If you see our son, bring him back," that Han would have gone out there?
No.
Or did he only go out there for Leia?
I don't think he would have. Because
yes, he would have.
No, I don't think he would have.
You know why you think that? And why, Ed, you don't think that?
Why
I don't know if I do or not.
Because neither of you have children.
No, but okay.
Have a child, and even if Amara is tripping and I think she's going to kill me, I'm going out there and at least trying because I'm her father.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course. It doesn't take Leia telling him that. The whole reason he was like, "I saw our son." Like, that to you right there, because he didn't really see him. He saw him walking away. Yeah. But for it to be that important to him to tell Leia, "I saw our son," I'm not going to mention that it was just kind of side of his face and he was carrying the lifeless body of this white girl.
Right.
But like just the fact that, you know what I'm saying, that was that important. I think that tells you that he would have gone out there regardless.
But at the same time, though, Gabe, you're a good father. And and Han Solo's a scoundrel.
Yeah, because you got to think about it. The minute that, maybe not the minute, but as far as we know, Ben goes rogue and he just like up and leaves his wife. I don't know. And so goes back to being, he's out. It's like, that's how he dealt with it. So I'm not so sure. I like your theory though. It works very nice.
Here's the thing. Leia said something that I felt like was really telling. When she says, "I never should have sent him away. That's when I lost him. That's when I lost you both." To me, it kind of showed that like he didn't have a reason to stick around anymore. If Ben's over here being fathered by Luke, then what am I here for? I'm not doing my thing. Well, I'm supposed to be a dad that just sits around and sweeps up the ship from time to time. I got to go steal some stuff. And so I don't know if it was that he was a bad father. It was just like, he didn't feel like he had anything to do, so he went and did some stuff, and then his son goes rogue in the process, and he's like, "Well, if Luke couldn't change it, what am I supposed to do?" She's like, "Well, he's a Jedi, but you're his dad."
Well, I very much got the feeling more that the reason that he went back to being a scoundrel and smuggling and all that kind of stuff was because of what happened with Ben, not because Luke was training him.
Oh, yeah, I feel like he was running for sure. You know what I'm saying? I think that him being that guy definitely helped him cope. But I think that something, and it'll come out in the movies, hopefully, but like, I feel like the way she said that was like, he's gone and you're just here. And Han's like, I got to go do some stuff. Not that I'm going to go be a bad guy necessarily, but I just got to go do some stuff. And then in the process, he goes rogue and then he continues to run and probably separates himself from Leia even further at that point.
Yeah, maybe.
We have no idea. All right. Chewie was funny.
He was. I like Chewie.
What was your favorite Chewie part?
Oh, favorite Chewie part for me for sure is when Finn goes, "Are you the war hero that fought with Luke? Wasn't he a war hero?" And he looked at Chewie. Chewie goes, "Eh."
Yeah, that was mine as well.
I mean, if you want to call him that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I actually wasn't even thinking about that. And the one that I was thinking about, because it gave it kind of in a way kind of humanized Chewie, but even though he's not a human, he's a freaking Wookiee. But was whenever he was back at the base and that woman's all like you doing all the stuff, and she's like, "Oh, you must be really brave." And he's like, I don't want to say anything, but I mean, I'm pretty brave. That's the way I took it. I spoke Wookiee there for a minute, and that's what he said.
Yeah. What about you, Ed?
No, I think the one you said, Gabe, was my favorite, but I'd forgotten about that one Chris mentioned. Those were he had some good moments. I think I liked Chewie the most in this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I never really felt that much of an attachment.
When Monster's like, "Where's my boyfriend?"
Yeah, I like that Wookiee.
Chewie's looking back. Yeah, I like that Wookiee. I was like, "Oh yes,
that was good."
I would have to say my secondary favorite part for Chewie, even though I liked when she was doing that thing and that was a funny moment, but when he walks straight to Leia past Han and hugs her, you're like, "Thank you." There's the history that we feel like we know, but we might not be seeing because they're not intimate. Han and Leia, like they don't, they do share that one hug, but it's kind of later. But when when you see Chewie coming over Han's shoulder and he just walks right past her to hug the princess, I think that was so telling.
Yeah.
But like the other half of that coin flip though is at the very end when they get back to the place after blowing up Starkiller Base, and Chewie just walks right past her, and Han just died, and she goes and hugs Rey, and it's like, hey, and they never even met yet. They'd never even seen each other, and it was just like that feels. Chewie should have. That was just weird. That was weird.
Yeah.